Save on Cox Internet when you add Cox Mobile and get fiber-powered internet at home and unbeatable 5G reliability on the go. So whether you're playing a game at home,
yes, goal,
or attending one live, you can do more without spending more. Learn how to save at cox.com/internet. Cox Internet is connected to the premises via coaxial cable. Cox Mobile runs on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability as measured by Ookla LLC in the U.S. 2H 2023. Results may vary, not an endorsement. Other restrictions apply.
Have you ever covered a carpet stain with a rug? Ignored a leaky faucet? Pretended your half-painted living room is supposed to look that way? Well, you're not alone. We've all got unfinished home projects. Whether it's a door that sticks, or a disorganized closet, or an AC unit that only works half the time. It all matters. You just haven't taken care of it yet. But there's an easier way. Just download the Thumbtack app. You can search for what you need done and find tons of highly rated pros right in your neighborhood. Check prices, reviews, and book a pro right on the spot. Plus, you'll know what to tackle next, because Thumbtack is the app that shows you what to do, who to hire, and when. Pull out your phone and in just a few taps, say goodbye to all those unfinished home projects and say hello to caring for your home the easier way. Download Thumbtack and start a project today.
Listen to every MLB game live.
In the deep left center field, it is high, it is far, it is gone.
Stream minor league affiliates.
The Midwest League home run leader.
And watch the best baseball highlights and look-ins on MLB Big Inning. MLB At Bat is your all-in-one live baseball subscription for only $3.99 per month.
Deep left field, it's gonna go. Alvarez ties the game.
Subscribe to At Bat within the MLB app today. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
It's incredible to me that I've interviewed Mike Love of the Beach Boys.
Long ago.
Yeah. Jesse, that has to make you a little bit jealous, huh? Jesse Newell joins us from the Kansas City Star. Are you a Beach Boys person as young as you are?
Yeah, sure, a little bit. I remember they guest starred on Full House one time watching it growing up. They did a concert from the Tanner's household. So, yeah, Beach Boys for me, for sure.
I remember that episode fondly, Jesse. I think we're in the same ballpark.
There we go. I didn't make it up.
That truly is one of the enjoyable aspects of being able to do a radio show and to expand beyond just sports. So if you could interview a musician, who would it be?
Oh, man. Who would it be? I don't know. That's a good one. I'm thinking probably off the top of my head, a guy like Dave Grohl would be pretty fascinating. I'll go with him.
That would be. We're going to get Dave Grohl on this show.
Yeah, I bet we
are.
are.
Last thing I do. All right, let's get into the Kansas City.
Real quick, I think you guys had one of my favorite bands was Jimmy Eat World. I think you had their drummer on once right before me.
We
Zach
did have.
Lynn. So I'm kind of jealous.
Yes.
I'm jealous of you guys for having him on.
Yeah, we did. We had him on as well. So let's talk about the Chiefs a little bit, because I guess the headlines right now revolve around Rashee Rice, and first to the driving incident in Dallas, and then this latest nightclub accusation in which he is accused of assaulting somebody. So if you're Andy Reid or the general manager and you're sitting around thinking about all this, what do you think they're thinking about?
Yeah, I mean, first off, we have to start with this second incident and basically say there haven't been charges filed against him yet. He's being investigated for it. That's sort of what we know, and the police report is out. But, this one has a lot more smokiness to it than the other one, because obviously the other one had video of him driving on the highway causing, starting a chain reaction crash. This one, the details still kind of remain a little bit murky with it. But what we can say is that when you're out on bond, when you have 8 separate charges against you, 2 of those felony charges, and a bunch of lawsuits lined up against you, and a lot of people basically coming out, whether it's in the organization or fans that are trying to show you grace and say, okay, maybe it was just a one-time mistake. This nightclub, whatever it was, however it happened, whether he's guilty or not, or whether he'll even have charges filed against him or not, it's putting yourself in a situation again in Dallas that is not the place you want to be. And I can't imagine it's not going to affect his future NFL suspension, even if he's fully cleared of all this, just because, again, this was the time to lay low for him. This was the time to, for lack of a better term, to sit in your apartment and play video games. It's not the time to go out in town. It's not the time to put yourself in situations where other things can happen again. And I kind of think back to the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. I mean, Rashee Rice right now has an opportunity to call many, many people who would be on his side and say, hey, look, this thing in Dallas, I'm with my old friends. It's just not working out for me. I've got bad influences. Can somebody get me an apartment in Kansas City? I just really need to stay there. And there's a lot of people in his corner right now that would help him in any way that they could. But he has to ask for that help. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think if you're Brett Veach, the GM, or Andy Reid, the coach, you wonder how much you can trust this guy, especially for the future, especially for a future potential second contract. But even in the short term, how much can you trust him this year? Because the one guy in the NFL who knew he couldn't get in more trouble, at the very least, put himself in position early in the morning in Dallas to put himself in position to be in trouble again. And so the trust issue, I think, here is definitely something that those guys have to factor in, and something you have to bring up to the top of your mind, or you're not doing your job if you're Andy Reid and Brett Veach both.
Are those two guys preparing as if they won't have Rashee Rice this upcoming season? Should they be preparing that way? And I think, we all kind of assume when it's a guy of stature and prominence that, jail time might not be in the equation. But is that worst-case scenario in play here, in your opinion?
I'm not sure about that, just because, again, he's hired the best of the best lawyers to do this. He has Royce West, a state senator in Texas, that's handling his case. The problem for him is that he's out on bond, right? And part of your conditions are bond or to not get more trouble. The other part of this is when you're trying to be a lawyer for him and plead down his case. We saw this strategy used by his lawyer when he had his press conference. He said, his words, Royce West's words about Rashee Rice, his client, was, do not judge Rashee on this one incident, judge him on his body of work. Well, now there's more body of work there. You know what I mean? Like now, potentially, if this thing goes any further, you're looking at a guy that is sort of showing multiple times of, if we put it at the very lowest mark, we would say bad judgment. You know what I mean? He's showing multiple instances of bad judgment. So I think the Chiefs, before this incident, were thinking that it was going to be very similar to what they faced with guys like Charles Omenihu or Frank Clark in the past or Willie Gay in the past. Those guys were all suspended by the league as well. Omenihu's was 6 games to start the season. I think Rashee's, probably they were guessing 4 to 6 games in that ballpark. And listen, that's stuff that you deal with injuries. That's stuff you deal with guys not producing. That's normal GM stuff. But with this incident, and the NFL has leeway to basically say if you embarrass the NFL, they can suspend you extra games. I just can't imagine that even if he's found completely, no charges on this, no wrongdoing, just the fact that he's put himself in the news again, I would think the NFL is going to look at that suspension again and say maybe there needs to be a little bit more added on there. So I don't think the Chiefs are preparing to go without him. I still think he could be part of their long-term future plans. He's got to get everything in line here, but no, I think they're still anticipating he'd be there about half the season. But he needs to get everything in order, and he needs to move forward on this thing with a little bit more urgency than he did after the first thing that happened here a couple months ago.
We're talking with Jesse Newell. He covers the Chiefs for the Kansas City Star. I'm curious, of course, there's such an embarrassment of riches here. Patrick Mahomes has won two Super Bowls in a row with the Chiefs without a guy like Tyreek Hill. So this year they draft Xavier Worthy at number 28 out of Texas, fastest player in the draft. How much can he be like Tyreek Hill, and how much do you think Patrick Mahomes encouraged and maybe swayed this pick because he wants a guy like Tyreek Hill in this offense?
Yeah, I mean, you hear the Tyreek Hill comparison a lot because of the speed. To be completely honest with you guys, like, I'm not sure we'll ever see a Tyreek Hill again. I mean, just based off the skill set, who he is, you add the game speed to his ability to go up and get a ball, to track a ball. I'm not sure that we've seen a player like that in the NFL before. So to comp a guy, especially in Xavier Worthy, just turned 21, a 28th overall pick, not the first overall pick, to Tyreek Hill, might be a little bit much. You know, the comparison I hear more, and this makes sense because Xavier uses it and Andy Reid has used it before, is Deshaun Jackson, you know, the former receiver for the Eagles, who was the downfield threat. It just feels like every highlight reel you had of Deshaun Jackson was him burning by a guy, a quarterback throwing it deep to him, and him racing down the sideline and scoring 78-yard touchdowns, that sort of thing. How much say did Patrick Mahomes have in this? You know, I think the Chiefs trust their scouting department. I think they trust Brett Veach. But I think Mahomes loves to get his hands deep into this thing. You know, he loves to, hey, send me videos on this guy you're thinking about. Or, you know, the fact that he had kind of a tweet ready to go with an emoji guy kind of with the speed running along. I'm sure he made known that Xavier Worthy was the sort of guy he would be interested in. I know there were reports out there from Xavier Worthy that right after he ran the 4.21 40-yard dash, the Mahomes got his number and texted him. That was before the Chiefs drafted him. He texted him to say, hey, congrats, you know, that sort of thing. And Xavier sure seemed like there was some indications that he might be a Chief one day. That could play into that. I think the biggest thing, just big picture, guys, is, you know, Bob, you mentioned this. Mahomes is so good. You know what I mean? But he's good in that he can win in different ways. You know, he doesn't have to chuck the ball downfield all the time. He can model what he has to the team's strength. Hey, if the offensive line's not as good, you know, he can make short passes. If he has run after catch guys like Rashee Rice, he can utilize those guys. I ran the story just before the Super Bowl. His first year, Patrick Mahomes, there's an advanced stat called average depth of target, ADOT. And it measures how far downfield your average throw is, so past the line of scrimmage. In his first year, his average pass was 9.2 yards downfield. That ranks fifth among the 32 quarterbacks. Last year, it was down to 6.5 yards, which was 30th out of 31 quarterbacks. So Mahomes, to his credit, has molded his game to the pieces around him. But it also has limited him. You know, I mean, he can throw a deep ball. He can, you know, stretch the field. So I think this Xavier Worthy thing is an attempt for the Chiefs to not have to have Mahomes play with one arm behind his back. You know what I mean? Like, allow him a deep threat that can go out, track the ball, catch the ball downfield, and with that, potentially the offense adds another dimension that it didn't have a year ago. Could he win either way? He can win either way. But again, we saw a more explosive Chiefs offense in his first and second year when he was chucking that ball downfield. To your point, to a guy like Tyreek Hill, can they add a little bit more of a dimension of that back to the offense? Can they do that with Xavier Worthy? If so, I think you see Patrick Mahomes free up more of his natural gift. And if that's the case, we see more of those natural numbers, more like the Chiefs offense of 3 or 4 years ago than this past year where they sort of had to play turnover-free, perfect, no-sacks football, which still was effective in its own way.
Were you talking that whole time, Jesse?
Oh, no. Did you drop me?
Okay.
Well, we got back on and you were talking, and I was hoping that you were such a pro that you just kept talking and people didn't even care where we were.
Oh, sorry, guys.
So
here, I'll summarize in two sentences. Ready? Mahomes, very early in his career, threw it 9.2 yards downfield as average throw, fifth in the NFL. I was with Tyreek Hill. Last year, he was down at 6 yards, which is second to last in the NFL. They want to introduce more of those long throws back. If they do that, they can unleash more of Mahomes' ability, and he won't have to play with one arm behind his back like he did a year ago, kind of making sure that he put himself to the offense and kind of catered himself to the offense rather than letting all of his natural gifts show.
And that was kind of my point in the question, not saying this guy's going to be Tyreek Hill, but that he's a Tyreek Hill type of receiver.
Absolutely. And look, they've had the guys like MVS in the past who can run downfield. You saw in the AFC Championship game, with the game on the line, 3rd and long, the Ravens said, we're going to single cover MVS. We're going to double cover Travis Kelce. And we know that MVS is going to run by our defender, but we don't care because we don't think he can catch it downfield. Now, sure enough, Mahomes throws a perfect ball. He allows MVS to catch the ball basically falling on his back to win the game. But if you have a receiver there that defenses have to say, hey, we have to double that guy. He can run by us, and he can catch it if he runs by us. All of a sudden, you unleash a little bit more of your offense and an explosive level of the offense that this Chiefs team did not have here the last couple of years. So that's the hope with Xavier Worthy. Again, just like you said, Bobby, he's not going to be Tyreek Hill. I think there's one Tyreek Hill in NFL history. But if he can beat Deshaun Jackson, that opens up a lot of what Patrick Mahomes can do and the Chiefs can do, and their offense might look a little bit more like it did 3 or 4 years ago rather than it did last season.
Were you surprised at that position that the Chiefs weren't more active in free agency? They did get Hollywood Brown, but it's a one-year deal. There weren't a lot of great options out there. The guys like Mike Evans signed pretty early and Pittman. So were you surprised by that? And also, how much does it help team building, building a roster when you don't have to spend a lot of money on a premium position like wide receiver?
Was I surprised? I guess they could have used one more, especially if you're looking at the Rashee Rice situation and just unsure about it. If he does get suspended by the league will give the Chiefs kind of a roster spot back. So, I mean, if you look right now, they have probably, 6 guys with Rice you feel decent about. I mean, I know they feel decent about a guy like Kadarius Toney. Many fans don't. But there's at least talent there that has happened in the past. He sort of needed an off-season reset. So, potentially, they need a guy to emerge, whether it's Nico Remigio, a guy who injured himself and had to sit out last year, whether it's Justin Ross finally coming into his own. There's been hype around that, but never really production and some injuries, too, to go with it. So maybe still one short, again, depending on the Rashee Rice situation. But I think it speaks to your other question here, which was like, for the Chiefs, if you're looking at aging curves for receivers, those guys come out as rookies and usually are pretty good right away. So for the Chiefs, it makes a lot of sense to go out and draft guys and hope that those guys can hit at a lower salary when you're paying your defensive tackle top of market money, when you're paying your quarterback top of market money, and there's just not as much money to go around to all these other positions. So I kind of like what they do in that regard. Sometimes it takes a little while to playbook because it is so complicated with Andy Reid. But I definitely see what they're doing, which is, hey, if receivers are really good young, and you always have the opportunity to draft them in the first or second round, do that. Get those guys in your system, have them for 4 or 5 years, and then potentially move on when they get really expensive because you already have expensive players at other positions. So I do sort of like that potential they have with their team building, and it goes a lot better when you can rely on those guys to potentially stay with you and not get themselves into trouble. So I'm sure that's why the frustration this offseason has been there with Rashee Rice, which is, man, on the open market, Rashee Rice would go up for a lot of money, and the Chiefs have him for a very low salary. Now can you just depend on him to keep him on the field? If that's the case, then you have a very, very, very good asset if you're able to draft the right player and develop him the right way.
Jesse, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. We'll catch up with you as we get a little bit closer to camp, okay?
All right. Sounds good, guys. Thanks.
Save on Cox Internet when you add Cox Mobile and get fiber-powered internet at home and unbeatable 5G reliability on the go. So whether you're playing a game at home,
yes, goal,
or attending one live, you can do more without spending more. Learn how to save at cox.com/internet. Cox Internet is connected to the premises via coaxial cable. Cox Mobile runs on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability as measured by Ookla LLC in the U.S. 2H 2023. Results may vary, not an endorsement. Other restrictions apply.
It's a great day to venture out in a spacious and capable Toyota SUV. Like the new RAV4. With available all-wheel drive, it can go just about anywhere. And with plenty of passenger and cargo space, you'll go from morning carpool to weekend road trip without missing a beat. Plus, with available features like wireless charging and a touchscreen interface, your Toyota RAV4 will keep you connected no matter where you're going. Or check out a spacious Highlander. With seating for up to 8, it's a hub for family adventure. You'll drive in comfort and style with available heated and ventilated seats and all the latest tech. And with available hybrid models, your new Highlander can save you tons on gas. Right now, your local Toyota dealer has more vehicles in stock and is making delivery on new vehicles almost every day. So don't wait. Buy a RAV4 or Highlander today. Visit buyatoyota.com for deals and more. Toyota, let's go places.
Baseball is back, and so is MLB.tv. Watch every out-of-market regular season game on your favorite streaming devices, anywhere, anytime, all season long. Follow the action live or on demand. Track 4 games at once with multi-view mode and catch up with in-game highlights. Plus, original programs, minor league broadcasts, and local pre- and post-game shows. Go to MLB.tv to start your free trial today. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.